Good evening. Good evening. Could I ask that our speakers make their way down to the front, please?
You should like carve out time to go to see charts. That's a good 5-year plan, right? You get married, you're fine. Anybody. I mean, I would marry for yeah. And any takers? Yeah, a friend of mine is English and he used to live here in New York and he got black out during the week. I know that like you pay someone for part of the year, but like that's fine, I'll take it. It's better than nothing. I'll take something. Yeah, he took me on it. I offered.
Hey everyone, can I get the speakers down front, please? Thanks.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, time's up. These are our songs.
Yeah. Put my flash on.
We do. Yeah. It's open for an hour before every show, so even if you're not coming to see a show, you can come to the drink. And then we're
Closes when the last person leaves.
yeah, closes when the last person leaves the show. So it depends when people trickle out. But it's a fully stocked bar. It's all liquors. We have a bartender who manages the whole front of house bar who tries to source all of our liquors from local providers. So we have like a really good Brooklyn whiskey. We have Ebbs Brewery, who's a local brewer that does our beer. Ebbs, have you been there? Ebbs is like 2 blocks from here, EBBS. It's really good. What else is at our bar? We do like a specialty cocktail for like every show based on like whatever the music vibe is. It's sort of like yeah, exactly. It'll be like Casanova, somebody who's supposed to burrito, jazz, and sort of or like a Manhattan. But no, it's fun. That is. What is it? Service. Okay. What's your favorite cocktail?
My favorite cocktail is
No, just pretending. More than like a Long Island.
Great.
No way.
Hi, can I have your attention, please? Thanks. Thank everyone for coming. Elaine, don't hide behind the pole. You got one side, I'll get on the other, we'll keep it up. So thanks everyone for coming out this evening, and a special thanks to our panel, some of whom have adjusted their schedules last minute in order to try and accommodate us. We really appreciate that. We appreciate the time they're giving us. I just want you to know up front also that a couple of our panelists, not that all of them don't have multiple events, but a couple of them have other things this evening that they're going to have to probably get up and leave early. Don't find them rude, just know that they're working for you. So, you know, we're going to give them an early dismissal. But we'll keep the panel alive, and then we're going to have a very quick, probably like a 47-second break where we're just going to flip it over, and then the second part of the program will be a discussion about the formation of the Northside Bid. So this is Elaine Brodsky. She's the chair of the North Brooklyn Chamber. You can say something too.
Well, I didn't know if you all recognized me with my new hairdo.
Bangs, she's wearing bangs. But yeah, we've been trying to put this together for a while, so we're glad that we could make it happen, and we're glad that you could all be here. I just want to say up front, the North Brooklyn Chamber, you know, we're a nonprofit business organization, so our focus is Bushwick, Greenpoint, and Williamsburg. We're hyper-local to those areas. We do what we can. We're much more about face-to-face and meeting with you and talking through your issues and problems than we are scheduling a webinar. So you can always reach out to us via our website. You can talk to Idana at the front desk. She can give you contact information. There's some info out there as well. But because we are a business organization, the theme for this evening is business-related issues and topics. So we want to keep on target. We want to make sure that we're talking about business in North Brooklyn. And everyone up here is prepared and ready to talk about business in North Brooklyn and any of the other policies that they feel that they're comfortable with discussing. But as far as the host of this event, business organization, business topics. So I guess without further ado, we'll just jump into it with a few introductions very quickly. Okay. So I'm going to start with New York State Senator Kristen Gonzalez, right there in the Senate. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. We just work on the fly. So Kristen represents the District 59, which includes parts of Western Queens, Northern Brooklyn, and Manhattan's East Side. She was the youngest woman ever to be elected to the New York State Senate. No applause, please. Thank you. And is currently the chair of the Internet and Technology Committee. She also serves on a variety of other committees, which hopefully she'll tell you about. Her previous experience includes time in the New York City Council, the Obama White House, and Senator Chuck Schumer's office. She has sponsored legislation including reducing barriers to class action suits which will enable lower income communities to have greater access to the courts and greater ability to hold the government accountable. She also passed legislation protecting the state's critical infrastructure from cyber attacks and continues to fight for workers' rights and a green New York State. Thank you for joining us this evening. And then we also, to her right, you're welcome. Is it working?
Okay, just back.
Okay.
We're good.
And to her right, and I'm doing these two first because when you see people get up early and walk out, it's going to be the two of them. So to her right is our Assembly member, Emily Gallagher. And since being elected, Emily has fought to address the housing crisis in New York, which has often been referred to as dire, and also worked to accelerate the state's transition to renewable energy. In 2023, she was credited with championing two policies that were the first of their kind in the US, the All-Electric Buildings Act and the LLC Transparency Act. Now, Emily can go into more detail with that if she so chooses, because well beyond me. And she's also a member of the Assembly's Transportation Committee. Before joining the Assembly, Emily worked as an educator and a public historian at various local institutions, and as a longtime neighborhood activist, spent years organizing for environmental, transportation, and housing justice, as well as continuing her ongoing fight against the fossil fuel industry. And now, I'm going to shut up, and Elaine will do a couple of intros.
Okay, next we have, as you all know, New York City Council member LincolnRestler. Having spent most most of his career as a public servant in New York City government, Lincoln has always fought for overlooked New Yorkers, designing and implementing the ID.NYC program, which provided the first U.S. government-issued photo IDs to many of the city's hundreds of thousands of undocumented residents, and negotiating the creation of safe, affordable bank accounts for thousands of unbanked New Yorkers. These are just two of his accomplishments. We can confirm that he's been quite busy. It's very difficult to get him, and we were really proud to have him tonight. And he focuses on many hyper-local North Brooklyn issues since being on the City Council. Previously, he was the Executive Director of NYC Employment and Training Coalition, which provides job training and job placement services for New Yorkers. And he also helped form the New Kings Democrats, an organization dedicated to bringing transparency, accountability, and integrity in Brooklyn politics. Revitalizing small business, delivering solutions to climate change, and tackling the affordability crisis are also hot buttons for Lincoln.
Thank you for joining us, Lincoln.
He also has the best hair in the whole world. Brooklyn Borough President, Deputy Chief of Staff.
Be with those bangs, though.
You too could try bangs.
Brooklyn Borough President's Deputy Chief of Staff for External Affairs, Alexis Rodriguez, is our guest. He's right behind me. Alexis previously served as community organizer for now Brooklyn President Antonio Reynoso when he was on the City Council. This was a 9-year learning opportunity that prepared him for his current position, where he is responsible for overseeing the office's community affairs, constituent services, and intergovernmental affairs. See, I shouldn't drink before I start. And communications departments. So we welcome all of them tonight.
And we also have
Assembly.
And we have Alex Moreno. Alex is here representing City Council member Jen Gutierrez. And Alex will tell us more about himself because we'll butcher it because we honestly don't know much about Alex. But we hope to find out more this evening. And then I know that Emily is going to have a stand-in who's going to step up later, so I don't know if you want to just do a brief introduction of her now.
I have my district director, Miranda Augustine, here. So when I go back to the DEC meeting, I will have Miranda sub in here. She is in our office all week, handling constituent and business and school and all these kind of issues. She's fantastic. She's very, very nimble and can definitely answer any questions about our services or my policies or anything like that.
Okay. And have you decided? Are you going to hand over your chair as well?
Yes,
There's a lot of pressure right now on him, right?
I mean, we have some incredible panelists, so it's a hard panel to follow, but Elon is over here from my team. He's our committee director and helps us craft our legislation, especially around internet technology, but we're really excited to receive any legislative ideas for ways we can support you on the state level with some of the pain points you're facing as small business owners. So Elon's gonna also introduce himself, I guess, when he gets up here, but thank you, Elon.
Thanks, thank you. So very briefly, and then we're just going to turn it over and let each speak a little bit about themselves and the topics that are close to their hearts at the moment. But I just want to say on behalf of the Chamber that the second part of this program, you'll hear about the hopeful formation of a bid up here. And the idea for this came from a couple of the various bid meetings that we sat in where we were listening to small business owners make some unbelievable comments about either how they don't know how to get in touch with their elected officials, they don't know why their elected officials would be helpful to them because they run such small businesses, and it's not like, why would they give me their time? And they don't understand that that's what they're about. So the driving reason behind this was to try and introduce people to these people and their staffs and their offices, and to let them know that they are doing their job when they reach out and help you, no matter what size your business is. So again, North Brooklyn businesses, small and large, and we'll just hear from our various speakers now.
I'm just gonna stand, because I feel like that's easier. Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight. Honestly, after hearing those introductions, I'm in constant awe of these like powerhouses, so can we give them another round of applause? Just for like showing up and showing out. I am really excited to be here today because as the new state senator in the district, I also represent a 3-borough district. And we've been talking to small businesses from Queens to Brooklyn and Manhattan, and what we found is there are so many shared struggles for small businesses in this climate, particularly after a difficult few years with a public health crisis. And some of the things that we've noticed are, of course, the rising cost of commercial rents, the need for, we talk a lot, you heard Emily in her introduction, Urgent Housing, working on a social housing bill, that's incredible, but we should have the same principles of affordability for small businesses as well. There's a commercial rent control bill in the Assembly, but there isn't one right now in the state Senate. So that's something we'd actually really want to work on and actually hear from all of you about what your experience is to be informed by all of you. Another thing that we've been hearing as well that we can address at the state level to help answer that question of, well, what can the state do? What part do our state electeds play? Well, utility bills. We've been hearing from a lot of folks that the price of energy has been going up. And again, we see that same struggle across small businesses. We're also dealing with that issue as individuals, as residents, and renters. And so if we're addressing it with the latter, so with, on an individual level, we should also be doing the same for small businesses. Another thing that has been top of mind is how can we look at the state level agencies that you deal with and some of the processes that you deal with to make them a little bit easier to navigate. I've received a number in the first year alone of SLA cases, so the State Liquor Authority. Has anyone had an issue with the SLA just in this room? I think that's, I think those laughs and those boos are proof that we could be doing better. And so we do have some new policies, in addition to more funding for that agency proposed in this year's budget. But again, want to work with you to make sure that you're getting the support that you need there. And then finally, I'll highlight some other state level initiatives that we're taking on and would love to engage this community with. We're looking at emerging communities and emerging business areas. So that includes, of course, top of mind, cannabis, and how we're supporting the legal cannabis shops in this neighborhood and supporting small business owners who want to get into that industry, but right now with the current state of unregulated shops, right, are really getting pushed out. So we want to look at what we can do more with the Office of Cannabis Management. Another thing we've been working hard on, with some of our Manhattan side colleagues, Senator Liz Kruger has been a leader on this. And then other emerging industries, whether it's technology, as chair of internet technology, ways that we can not only make room for these large corporations, but even some of the businesses here. And then finally, supports with things like data. Things like, if there's ways that we can, as a state, provide the same cybersecurity, data support with, some of our larger businesses and state agencies, even for small businesses. So we're looking at how we can bring emerging industries and also just some of the issues we're working on, directly to all of you. And then of course, finally, we want to support our, not only small businesses, but keep an eye for equity. So minority and women-owned businesses. I've been working with Senator Sanders, who chairs that committee, to see what we can do for small business owners who are coming from different and diverse backgrounds, so that, I think in Brooklyn we excel in this area. I look at this room alone, it's incredibly diverse. It doesn't look like that everywhere else. And so I'm proud that we're doing the work here, but then how do we also bring that to, like I said, other boroughs in the district? So really, really excited to hear from all of you tonight. Would love to hear about some of the small businesses in the room even, so what industries you're in, and of course want to receive when Elon is up here, any legislative solutions you would like to see us implement on the state level. So I'll stop there. I know that was a lot of information, and turn it to my incredible, unmatched assembly counterpart, Emily Gallagher.
Thank you so much, Kristen. And Kristen is doing such an awesome job. And it is so great to be working together. I really feel like we are all always connected on our on everything we're working on. We're always working on it together, and that really adds some power when you can have a unified community working on your issue. So I'm really grateful to have Kristen, Lincoln, Jen, and the borough president on my team. So Kristen covered a lot of what we're working on with the bigger picture, unlicensed cannabis shops. We've given the governor some new tools to go after the unlicensed cannabis shops, but the hope is that we're going to bring some more enforcement and attention to that. We've changed actually the way that cannabis shops can become licensed now. So one of the things that we're hoping for is that the more licensed shops available will help us ameliorate the problem with the unlicensed ones. Additionally, on commercial rents, which she mentioned, I have been working alongside some advocates on the commercial rent control bill at the state level. Would love your feedback, guidance, anything that you want to see in that. If that's something you're interested in, happy to talk to you about that and give you the bill language as it stands, hear what you would want to do, and I can give that to the sponsor. In the state budget right now, we have a commercial security tax credit that's been proposed by the governor. I would love feedback on that. Currently, the feedback I've given is that this should be for folks, I'll give you the feedback after I read you the proposal. The executive proposes implementing a $3,000 tax credit for small businesses whose retail theft prevention expenses exceed $12,000. The aggregate amount of available credit would be capped at $5 million each year and will be offered for tax years 2024 and 2025. So that one of the pieces of feedback we've given is that that might be actually a little bit too high of a threshold for small businesses. So looking to put in our Assembly One House, which is our response to the governor, some language about that being a little bit lower so more people can access that funding, but that is something that we're still in discussion with as a conference. Some other things that my office can help you with as the Assembly member, and I am serving a much smaller area than Senator Gonzalez. So, I'm here to really pitch in and hit the ground for you guys for these issues. Some of the things that we've had a lot of success with helping on is, just as Kristen mentioned, utilities. We were actually able to get a local business owner thousands of dollars back from Con Edison because they had been overcharging her. We also dealt with a similar issue with some religious institutions. So this is something that is very common, and we are really ready and prepared to go after that for you. We like to fight for you. We like to, get in the trenches there and do what it is that you need from us. So the additional things that we have access to tax credits and hiring incentives. One of the things I'm very excited about are apprenticeship programs and workforce development. I've been working with City Bike to get folks who have experienced adjudication, so they're coming out of the prison system, getting them trained to do bike mechanic jobs that will be union wages and really help end recidivism and get people out of poverty and get people into a really more stabilized kind of life. And a good job is the core of so much: housing, good work, and access to healthcare. Those are the three tenets that I'm really pushing for in most of my legislation and really involved in. So making sure that people have that access is really important to me. A cool thing that we just introduced is a migrant hiring program. So the Department of Labor is working to get people's work opportunities up to speed, and if you are interested in hiring some of the migrant workers who have come here, please reach out to my office and we can help that get all set up. We also have HR assistance, consultation, health and safety consultations available. Empire State Development Division of Small Business has within it that we can connect you with lending programs, financial assistance, technical assistance if you're setting up or changing your business or trying to make some big decisions about your business, and also mentoring and guidance. So there's a lot of opportunities for you as a small business owner at the state level, and I would be happy to be a conduit on the worker level as well. We help a lot of people with their unemployment benefits. So if you have a worker that can no longer work with you, but you want to make sure that they get their benefits, just set them up with us. We can help facilitate all of that. And I'll just make a little plug for the LLC Transparency Act that we just passed the chapter amendments yesterday, so that was very exciting. So this was brought to my attention by the community housing organization Los Suris. We were doing we were trying to hold a landlord accountable for a really devastating condition of a building, but we could not trace who that landlord was because it was buried under many, many shell companies, and the only address that we had was mailboxes, etc. So I took this on. That protest happened in 2015. I really absorbed the problem with this, and as I got into office, I was talking to a variety of different folks, including everybody from land title associations, mayors, the Council of Mayors, the DAs of all 5 boroughs, the Attorney General's office, the state and city comptroller's office, and every single person said they were having this problem. Additionally, all the unions said they had this problem too, trying to get workers' wages, trying to get all of this sort of stuff. The DA has been struggling to go after drug trafficking and things like that, and they couldn't find the people because of these shell companies. And we also know that oligarchs who are not supposed to be spending money in the United States are frequently buying property here and using the property as a bank account to hide their money under an LLC. So this bill says that you need to put in your beneficial owners into a document that will be under lock and key at the Department of State, and that is in case there's any law enforcement that needs to occur or any kind of conflict between LLCs that needs to occur so that it can operate more nimbly. And as long as you file those documents, it's going to be the same information that you file with the Federal Transparency Act that passed 2 years ago. As long as you file those documents, it's going to be smooth sailing. And it's really going to help us root out the bad actors who are harming all of our businesses, all of our community. So I'm really excited to see that roll out. That'll take effect in 2 years. I wanted it to be sooner, but you know how these things are. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your engagement. And Chris and I are going to run back here.
Yeah, we gotta help out, but hopefully I'm gonna see if I can come back.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
great. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
No, what is it? It's like 220 a year?
Those are tough acts to follow. Just as Emily said, we're really fortunate here in North Brooklyn to work as a team. And Kristen is the newest member, and she and Emily have just been tremendous champions for our community in Albany, and working with Jen at City Hall and Antonio all the time. And of course, Congresswoman Velasquez. We are really a unified front on behalf of the neighborhood. I am so happy to be with you all tonight. I really want to thank Paul and Elaine. I love Paul Smolsky not only because I grew up with his son Eric, but because he is a great guy, and there is really no one in our community that's more generous than Elaine and Norm, and really want to thank you for everything you do for the neighborhood. And everybody who's involved in the chamber, appreciate the work you do advocating for the business community and helping to bring folks together for events like this one. it's been a challenging time for small businesses in our community. Rents have gone up and like way crazy up. We're all experiencing the Amazonification of the local economy, where people are ordering their stuff from wherever rather than shopping at the place down the block. And it's been hard. And we've seen some areas with increased vacancies. We've seen some small businesses that are struggling to hold on. You know, one of my favorite pizza places on Nassau closed just this week. The lobster joint closed this week. We're losing a lot of spots that are great neighborhood places because it is as hard to hold on as it is. We want to do everything we can in our office to try and help provide support to small businesses in need. Whether you're a new small business starting out, you know, it can be a real challenge. Negotiating your lease can be a real challenge. But if folks want to reach out to our office, we can put you in touch with nonprofit attorneys who can help negotiate that lease and make it more affordable and make sure you get the protections that you need. When you're trying to open a small business and do renovations in New York City, you have to navigate often multiple city agencies. It can be maddening, it can be hard. There's utility companies, the delays have really made it challenging for many small businesses just to get their doors open and off the ground. But that's another area where we are eager and happy to help. So whether it's dealing with the Department of Buildings, dealing with National Grid, making sure that you're getting the responsiveness that you deserve as a new small business in our community, we are here to help. You know, I really believe that it's not just the residents of District 33 that are our constituents and our stakeholders, it's the small businesses. Because the small businesses contribute so much to the dynamism of our communities. You employ our neighbors, it's the small businesses where we have our favorite memories, it's the small businesses that you know, contribute in so many ways to making our neighborhoods as great as they are. And we want to do everything we can to help. There are a number of areas that we've been focusing on to try to improve kind of quality of life across the neighborhood and provide support to businesses in particular. Firstly, we have been working with the 9.0 and the 9.4, and Jen and I co-hosted a session for small businesses recently to just provide tips and assistance on theft issues, and with Emily's office too, on theft issues and vandalism, so that we're just sharing best practices and tips where we've had a number of issues in different parts of Williamsburg in particular over the last couple of years. We have been doing our best to try and educate small businesses about new sanitation rules, as there are changing requirements around when you can put your garbage out and how that garbage has to be stored, which is good for reducing rats in our neighborhood, but it can be burdensome, you know, as new regulations are for small businesses. And so with Emily's team and with others, we've been going door to door to small businesses on North 6, on Kent, on Bedford, to just make sure that folks know the rules and are following them. My office also supports ACE, that where you may have noticed ACE guys going around the neighborhood, but we have these are formerly homeless individuals who are working to do trash cleanup across our neighborhood. We have them 5 days a week along Bedford Avenue, along North 6th Street, and along Manhattan Avenue, picking up trash, trying to improve our neighborhood. And I hope that's been making a real difference. And you know, we're committed to helping you all navigate all of the different agencies that are involved in regulating small businesses. I know there have been a lot of questions and concerns about the Department of Transportation's new regulations regarding outdoor dining. We're going to be putting out explainers in the weeks ahead so that people understand how they can follow the new rules as they begin to take effect. I, for one, wanted to see the program continue year-round, as I thought it was a silver lining of the pandemic and something that had been exceptionally helpful to our small businesses. And unfortunately, you know, what was ultimately passed was a seasonal program that doesn't allow for, you know, meaningful infrastructure in the streets to improve the dining experience for New Yorkers. But I think it's still better than nothing. There will also be year-round sidewalk cafes as a result of the legislation as well. But look, if you have any issues with the Department of Sanitation, the Department of Health, the Department of Buildings, the Department of Transportation, or the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, these are just some of the some of the city agencies that regulate our small businesses. But if you have problems with any of them, call us and we'll do our best to help you navigate them and advocate on your behalf with our city agencies. But you know, when we look at global solutions that we really need, especially here on the north side to support the small business community, the thing that's most obvious would be the creation of a business improvement district. And this, in my opinion, the North Side is probably one of the largest dense concentration of businesses in New York City that doesn't have a merchant association, that doesn't have a business improvement district, it doesn't have a dedicated advocacy organization helping our neighborhood businesses navigate bureaucracy, advocate with marketing events and other opportunities day to day. And that's what we really need. And Katie Denny Horowitz, who we all know and love from the North Brooklyn Parks Alliance, has been helping to spearhead this effort with our office and with Jen's office and with everybody to help make this a reality. We're just in the early stages. They're going to tell you more about it in a couple minutes. But I really want to underscore, if we want to see clean streets, if we want to have dynamic events that support our small businesses, we want to better maintain our public spaces and open spaces, we need a business improvement district that can actually do that work day to day. We've got 7 other business improvement districts across District 33. They are really successful. They really make a difference. We need one here, and I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to get it done together. So I know they're going to talk more about that, and these smart guys are going to tell you more about what their offices have to do. But I will just say, my closest friend in all of government and politics, he actually married me at my wedding, was Antonio Reynoso. And he has really been, I think, a model for me and for Jen and for everybody in helping to show us how to be really on the ball local elected officials. And one of his real right-hand people who is everywhere with him and on his behalf and doing the great work is Alexa Rodriguez.
Thank you, Lincoln.
Everybody's coming up, so I'll do the same as only to follow. So thank you, Lincoln. I do appreciate that. So yes, I've been with the Board of Presidents. He started as a council member, and also worked with Councilmember Gutierrez. She was my chief of staff during that time. So we've been working with Lincoln since the very first beginning. But going back to the businesses, creating a bid is great. There's some discussions internally in City Council about how to provide resources to the merchant associations that are not the same as a bid. There's 2 that I know that I'm working on, it's like Cypress Hills and Smith Street. So they've been working into how to become a bid. So what we just looking and try, we need some help from the City Council, is about how those merchant associations can become a bit easier. So it's a lot of planning, but it's not impossible. You have the right people here, so you have the right support with the council member who they vote for that when it's ready to become a bid. So going back to the businesses, for me it's mostly to listen, get your complaints, feedback, concerns, and figure out how we can be supportive. So on the business side, I've been working, like I said, with some of the merchant association. They're in the pipeline to become a bid. Also, I've been working with SBS doing surveys through areas. So I've been in North Strand and Flatbush. It's knocking on doors on all the businesses with SBS, with the local elected officials, listening to you guys. So I just want to listen what your issues are, so in order that we can be providing the support from the city and the resources and the tools. In addition, the council member mentioned about DOB. There's always a lot of DOB issues. These buildings are really, really old. A lot of illegal conversions. So we have done in Sunset Park walkthrough with DOB and the elected officials through businesses, kind of what their issues, how they can correct them, and how it can be helpful. So my role will be mostly getting feedback, support, and looking for ideas and problem solving. So thank you, thank you. So I think that will be all for me.
Alexis, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Moreno, and I'm a representative from Jennifer Gutierrez's office, the council member for District 34. We work very closely not only with Councilmember Restler, but we work really closely with the Borough President's office as well. As he mentioned, Jennifer was one of Antonio's chief of staff, so she has such a great familiarity with the city and the different city agencies. And I, as a community organizer for the office, am here to provide support for the community at large, whether that be residents, tenants, or even small business owners or large business owners. And we're here to represent everybody. We do what we do at our office is we help people navigate what seems like an alphabet soup sometimes of all of these city agencies, and everyone who works for the city knows there's DOB, HPD, and the list just goes on and on and on. And my job here is, like Alexis, to listen, come up with resolutions, and do the best that I can to help out everybody.
Thank you, Alex. So, the idea of the evening, and I'll sort of keep it moving along because I know everybody has schedules and things to do and whatever, is that we wanted to hear from our electeds or representatives from their offices. It was important that everybody knows who they are, how to get in touch with them, why you should get in touch with them, and feel comfortable with doing that. And so we do have, you know, the individuals that were left behind, let's say, our stand-ins for the evening's performance. So I just want to go through one more time, and I apologize for the fact that we didn't have anything up here in print other than identifying them. But just so everybody knows, the easiest way to get in touch with anyone in everyone's office. I know what we'll do is via the chamber, we'll put out this information via our social media, so you know the best and most direct route to reach them. But I mean, if everyone could just very quickly just tell again how the easiest way, or the point person, or because you know we don't want to try and track down Lincoln because we know Lincoln's probably doing 30 things. So who do we go to? So just make it clear for everyone the best and easiest way to get in touch with your offices.
Sure, I'll start. So for us, Kelly McCabe is our point for Greenpoint in the north side. She's terrific. She was on the Newhart meeting tonight, so we divided and conquered, but best way, you could just email district33@council.nyc.gov. Again, that's district33@council.nyc.gov, or give us a call, 718-875-5200. We're around.
Hi everyone, again, I'm Miranda. I'm our district director for the assembly member. I am probably going to be your point person for most things. So feel free to either email me directly, I've got my cards, come find me, or you can also reach us at district50@nyassembly.gov, or we're also at 718-383-7474, and it'll probably be me answering the phone.
And what does our district director for Emily Gallagher's office do?
Everything.
Kind of anything related to local district issues. I am your point person if you're having trouble connecting with an agency. I talk to Department of Labor all the time, which is probably relevant for you guys. I mean, if you've got complaints, they're coming to me.
And Miranda is superb. So
I do my best.
I'm Elon Silver from Senator Gonzalez's office. I am counsel. I'm unfortunately not in community affairs, but by virtue of being part of the office, of course, I contribute to the community affairs efforts. Our director for community affairs is Shauna Morlock. I would say the easiest way to get in touch with our office is to call the district office. Our number's on the website. I unfortunately do not know it by heart. But we answer the phone 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and somebody who is skilled in the ways of community affairs will always answer. So.
Yeah, I am most likely going to be the point person as well for Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez. So if you ever call the phone or send an email, if it's in Williamsburg, it's going to be me. I'll have my cards at the end. I also, unfortunately, do not know the office phone number. Still trying to get it down. But yes, please feel free to reach out. My email is amoreno@council.nyc.gov. Otherwise, you can reach out to the general district email, which is district34@council.nyc.gov.
And for me, I will not give you the ask Reynoso. If not, we'll be going in circles in the building, asking who is going to be responsible. But like my email is alexis.rodriguez@brooklynbp.nyc.gov. My cell phone 347-899-6012. If you want my business card, later I have them in my book bag.
Thanks, everyone. And yes, I'm hoping that depending on your schedule, they'll be able to hang around until the end of the event if anybody wants to chat over a drink or in the back after we finish the second part of the presentation. So once again, thank you very much to our group of elected officials and their supporting staff, their office staff. And thanks for making the time. Thanks for putting yourself out there for everyone. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to ask Lincoln to stay. The rest of you are excused. Thank you for coming. No, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly move on to the second part of the agenda this evening, which is a topic that both Lincoln and Alexis touched on, which is the formation of a North Side bid. And I know that if we could switch the screen now so we can identify who's going to be up here, even though we can tell you, but you can read it. And I'm going to just hand this one over to Lincoln, who'll do a quick introduction of the speakers for this. And my understanding is that it's going to be pretty loose and conversational and informational. So go for it, ladies.
Two people who need zero introduction, who I think are probably loved by every person in this room, are Felice Kirby, longtime neighborhood business owner, champion for small businesses, like activist extraordinaire, and Katie Denny Horowitz, who is a longtime neighbor and has done an amazing job revitalizing the North Brooklyn Parks Alliance. Kick it over to you two.
So, sure, I can start. Thank you, Lincoln. You sort of gave the context of what we're talking about here with this business improvement district. For a little bit of a technical, introduction to this model, an improvement district is basically a designated area where a public-private partnership works with property owners, business owners, residents, local community groups, on an assessment and defining services. And so my role in this, the North Brooklyn Parks Alliance, Lincoln's role in this, and hearing a lot of complaints in the area, complaints about trash, complaints about business services, complaints about quality of life issues. These are things that we at the North Brooklyn Parks Alliance have been hearing about as it pertains to public space. And so we are public space managers. We've been around for 20 years. Historically, we have been working in parks for most of the time. Most recently, we have had a lot of dedicated staff at McGolrick Park, kind of revitalizing that almost 10-acre park. We're going to be working in a lot more large parks in the area. Bushwick Inlet Park is next on our 2024 agenda to do direct maintenance there. But then in recent years, especially during the pandemic, when we were out in the field looking at the state of our streetscapes, street trees, the Open Streets program came about at a time when we've been advocating for more open space. We've had the opportunity to create public plazas in the area, creating more open space, maintaining these spaces. And these kinds of services, from direct maintenance, meaning it's about to rain, there's storm drains all around, and we hear from families where there's a lot of flooding, maybe right outside McCarran Park. We have a team that goes out and clears the storm drains. We have a team that sweeps the streets. We have a team that works in parks on horticultural issues and also visuals and planning. And all of these services are the kinds of services that bids often provide. There are a lot of other services that are often provided, more business-centric services. That could be marketing plans, it could be wayfinding. We hear from a lot of businesses, especially in Williamsburg, that's heavily industrial. How do I get from point A to B? Where we have been thinking a lot about that is how can you get from Park A to Park B and sort of create these pedestrian corridors that can be clean and vibrant and really raising the quality of life and the connectivity among our neighbors and among our businesses. And it's from this context that we have been also hearing from constituents through our elected officials that this idea of an improvement district, and also talking with the chamber for the better part of the last year or so about what is the trajectory for this area specifically in Williamsburg that has grown exponentially in terms of population, in terms of business growth, in terms of economic development. What's not kept apace, especially amid budget cuts, is the level of services from the city that we're getting and all those agencies. You didn't mention parks. I would argue that Parks Department interacts with businesses as well, because you cross the street, or your business, or the people who are going to your restaurant, the people who are shopping in your shops, especially in this area, are probably walking around the street trees, hopefully not over trash, hopefully not kicking rats along the way, but these are things that actually happen that we've heard, and it's just not okay in a place like Williamsburg. Given the amount of wealth, given the amount of businesses, given the amount of opportunity here, we just haven't kept in pace with the services. And so we've been looking at ways where we can explore a sustainable model to provide support for those services as it relates to either the public realm or supporting businesses, which is where Felice comes in as a longtime North Brooklyn Chamber member and advocate, and one of the legacy business owners of Williamsburg, sort of spearheading the growth from many decades ago. So Felice, if you want to talk about it from a business perspective.
Well, I want to talk to my colleagues in the room and small business people who are here. I think the logical question from what Katie said is, so why doesn't the city take care of all of this? Like, what is the strategy that's being discussed that is in addition to or different than the taxpayers just pay for it all? There's a finite budget for the city of New York, and it's divided up amongst all the community boards in the city. There's only so much money. There's a program for the entire community board, well over 150,000 people, and it is not business-centric, it's not park-centric. It looks at the broad needs of the whole population of Community Board 1. And as Katie said, the community, as you all know, has transitioned so much. I was just telling one of my friends at the beginning of the meeting, when I was first hired to work in this neighborhood in 1979, the problem was property abandonment. Can you believe that? And arson for profit schemes to burn the buildings down because they were worth more for the insurance money. So now, 45 years later, it's a very different community. But one thing that's the same now that was then, which is the power of organization, is what it's all about. Back then, we had planned shrinkage. The city took away a great firehouse. The people of the community sat in that firehouse for 2 years to get it restored. And so many things since then. I don't know, you all know that the Williamsburg Bridge was scheduled to be taken out because nobody goes to Brooklyn anymore, according to the mayor in the early 1980s. But it got renovated because of community organizing, community power. So in order to move forward and have more representation of every government service in our community for the emerging economy, in order to have the attention paid to us and the ability to dialogue among ourselves and see what we really need, it's great to have an organization, and an organization with a little staff, with a little budget, to do the things like you're doing with parks, which are unbelievable, to be able to move forward on the physical problems in our area, some of the marketing issues. I mean, just think if you're in business, the value of networking, of coordinating festivals with restaurants, with bars, with the retail industry, with the people who do marketing and media in our community. We have so much places where we could come together and make each other stronger and plan things that we would benefit from organization. But I just want to talk about our role would be to be organizers for this effort, to go to meetings, to do the survey that's being put out there, to talk, to pay attention to what the ground rules are. Because it's not going to be free. It's not free to form a bid. A bid is something that eventually leads to a small or may not be small. If you're a large business, there's a scale of payment by the property owners who have commercial businesses. But the bid, the steering committee, the bid has tremendous influence over that. And you guys, you're the experts. I think there's also legal counsel that helps sort this out. It takes quite a while. You need a lot of people to sign on. You need support, you need votes, but it's a great idea. And I love the chamber. I think the chamber has been a fantastic advocate for us, a great place for us to put our heads together, invent things, do things, fight for the rights of small business, to get an opportunity for a liquor license or consumer, something with consumer industry. But the chamber is all volunteer, and many of us who helped build that may not want to be doing that for the next 10 or 20 years. And if we can build a bid like a lot of our colleagues have created, and I know you guys are going to host an event on March 5th where different bids will talk to us, it would appear that it's a level of professionalizing our business association so that we can advocate for ourselves. So that's why I'm very happy to work on it. I joined the steering committee. I hope you will follow up and look into it, get involved.
I think the biggest thing also is to submit the needs assessment survey, which is live right now, and we can share that link. There it is right there. So take out your phones, because in order to define the services that this bid would provide, which is the next step, we need to better understand the needs of the residents and the businesses here. What are your priorities? Because we all have ideas from what we've heard or from what we've experienced, but what's really important is that the people who would benefit have the opportunity to share what their needs are, what their priorities are, and that's the early sort of exploration stage that we're at now. If this entity would form, what would it do?
Should we take questions?
You have time. You got like 8 minutes. Sure.
I just want to say something, that you've got 3 best people up here talking about this that you're going to get in this community, and their passion and their love for this community is so deep. And to get all the elected officials here on the same night, you have no idea what Paul went through to coordinate this. So I want to thank I saw some hands raised.
Could I just, before we start, I'm sorry, I just want to say one thing too, that Felice, not only is, she's credited up there as well, but we as the chamber went to Felice and asked her if she would be our representative on the steering committee, because we couldn't think of anyone better within our group. I can't actually think of anyone better, except maybe for the other 2 people sitting there. But we are fully supportive, as a chamber, we are fully supportive of the idea of a Northside bid. It's just that because of various things, we as an organization have to keep our distance a little bit, but we are fully supportive. We have a representative on the steering committee who's going to do great things and help it steer in the right direction. So I just want everyone to understand that as the North Brooklyn Chamber, we're behind this 100%. So Elaine did call for questions. These are bid-related questions we're taking, I believe. So yes, it's a bid-related question.
Yeah, I stand or here, give me 1 minute. Hope I ain't break my phone. Hi, my name is Christopher. I'm a resident of Brooklyn. I could vote in the Brooklyn Borough President race. So I want to know, like, for the Northside BID, I think that's the name, right? So do you have a website? Do you have like a donation link that any of us in the studio, like in this theater, can donate or support? What's the early stages of this? Because I only see like usually I just see like a QR code.
There's a website. It's northsidebid at nbkparks.org. We don't have a fund. We're not doing donations right now. We're really early in the process. So what we're really focusing on, if you want to help, is to share that survey, because what we really want to know is what people feel are their priorities.
And one more thing, I know Lincoln, you're the chair for the community boards in the city council. Will you have a hearing about this, about getting funding for the BID with Lincoln, with Justin Brandon, because he's the finance chair? You have budget hearings next month, so.
It's a great question, Chris. So the process for creating a bid is not a fast one, as I think Felice alluded to. We're at the stage now where we're getting input from neighbors. Folks are completing the survey. That will inform what's the geographic area that we want to cover in the bid. As Katie said, what are the exact services we want to provide for the bid. Once we focus in on that, we'll create a budget. We'll actually then have to get the property owners in that area to vote. And if essentially a majority of the property owners vote for the bid, then it'll come to the city council for approval. And we'll have a hearing at the council, of course, before voting on it. And I will be enthusiastic in helping to get this bid enacted into.
So wait, the vote will be via like election, like a ballot proposal,
So
or
there's a process that the Department of Small Business Services administers that requires the property owners that are in the designated area to vote in support of or against a business improvement district.
would that be like in the community board vote, or would that be like election time?
No, it's a ballot that goes out to each property owner. They complete it and it's submitted, and the Department of Small Business Services reviews that process. And once the SBS approves it and we meet a certain threshold of community support, it then will come to the city council, where myself, and I should really note Councilmember Gutierrez, and we're so fortunate that Alex is here and that he's been really involved in this process. Both, hopefully we'll cut across both of our districts and we'll have a say and hoping to get that over the finish line.
Okay, thank you.
Just to make it clear also, I believe at this point in time, it's about awareness and participation, because for those who aren't familiar with bids and bid applications and proposals, they don't all go through. There are years spent and then you get a negative result at the end of the day. So the idea is the more momentum and the bigger the following and the more passion you have behind it, the better you are in succeeding. And that's the reason for the call out right now for participation in filling out the surveys and getting involved at this level. Is there anyone else that has a big question? Yeah, I'll bring the mic up.
I think I can just talk.
That's okay. This way you don't have to.
You're getting your steps in?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Hi, Siri Wilson. My store is Treehouse Brooklyn on Graham Avenue, and so I know there's a Graham Avenue bid, and there's also a Grand Street bid that I'm a part of the advisory committee for, and I'm wondering, are you thinking about rolling everything into a bigger bid, or are they, because I know the Grand Street bid is talking about growing and the expansion project, so I'm just wondering how they're all aligned. That's it, thank you.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Erin from the Grand Street bid is on the steering committee. So we are in close conversations, and I think the geographic boundaries that we're kind of exploring don't necessarily overlap with their expansion. And the hope is that we can work together to collaborate. But then it's not a single bid at this time. That's not kind of format we're looking at. I will say those do exist. Like the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership is actually a coalition of a number of individual smaller bids. So that model does exist, but it's not part of the conversation right now, because that's very ambitious. So,
Yeah, you have a good vision for the future that we hope to embrace down the line, maybe. But
I think we just kind of need to emphasize how hard this is. Yeah. That it's a very heavy lift, and as Paul said, we could walk that walk and not quite get there. But we're very lucky to have organizing help from Lincoln's office and from Katie's organization. That's like just really a magic bullet at the moment. But I would just really urge you to talk to your colleagues who own businesses in the North Side area. Do you know what the North Side area is? We take it for granted. North Side has historically been Metropolitan Avenue to the edge of the park, and the river to the BQE. Now, we're going to look at a smaller area than that, because the bigger you go, the bigger your majority has to be that signs on. So there's every reason to kind of go smaller so that you have a majority much faster. But historically in this community, an idea would get floated out and then people would fight over the rumor, not the fact, not what was good, not what was bad, but just the rumor. And we don't want to be behind an idea that divides us. We want to be behind an idea that's good for the community, good for the residents, the visitors, and the businesses. So we need people to come into meetings and conversations and fill out the survey and get informed and tell us what the concerns and the issues are so that we can do it, go forward and do it.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Felice. Thank you, Katie. Once again, thank you, Lincoln. If you haven't done it yet, there is a sizable QR code right up there. Feel free to scan it. And I just want to also introduce you to something else that we were told about today, and we want to share the news with you that next week our Congresswoman is doing a workshop, small business workshop. So we have a few flyers out front that has information on it if you want to pick one up, or again, your phone is wonderful. I'm sure it's going to be a very informative and rewarding session, so you might want to consider next Thursday. If you're not doing anything from 10 a.m. to 11:30, here's an option for you. And
She chairs. Congresswoman Velasquez is the chair of the Small Business Committee in the House, first Latina to chair a committee in the House. But I will tell you, whenever we have an issue across our district with Small Business Administration, with any small business issue that interacts with the federal government, Lydia gets it resolved in amazing time. So it's definitely worth counting on her for help. And we're fortunate that as of redistricting this past year, she's now representing all of North Brooklyn again, and she's been a tremendous champion for our community.
yeah, and she's always there. She's not tucked away in her office somewhere. She's always around. So yeah, she's very accessible and extremely helpful. So once again, I just want to thank our remaining speakers. Let you know that everyone that was here earlier will be hanging around a bit if you have any questions or whatever for them. I also just want to pass along thanks to the White Hotel for once again hosting us here. They're wonderful. Thanks Elaine, thanks Idana, thanks myself for putting this together. We had a good time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And for those that are interested, the hotel also wanted me to say, hey, it's Thursday night, Bar Blondo is open upstairs. So, but we're open right outside too, so we still got some wine and beer and drinks. So have a chat and get home safe. Thanks everyone.